Okay, we're going to do part 2 now of these seed oils. I'm going to show you some charts that are going to help to explain the difference between the lanolinic acids, omega-6, omega-3 acids, and the contents of each in these seed oils. But first, I want to start with how canola oil, which, by the way, if you look at the ingredients on any kind of a chip bag or crackers or a whole lot of different things, if you just check out the contents, a lot of them say they're made with canola oil. So let's find out how canola oil is made. Okay, the actual how it's actually the hybrid version is really not canola oil. There's no such thing as a canola seed. It's made from rapeseed. Rapeseed oil is what it is. They renamed it to canola oil. All right, so most genetically modified and heavily treated is heavily treated with all kinds of things plus pesticides. So here's what you do in step 1 is you heat the rapeseed oil to an unnaturally high temperature so that it oxidizes and it becomes rancid before you even buy it. Well, now you've got some pretty stinky oil. The next thing you do is you process it with a petroleum solvent to extract the oil. Then what you do is you heat it some more. You add some more acid to remove any nasty, waxy solids that may be floating around in the oil that are forming in this process. Now we want to treat the oil. We want to put chemicals in it to improve the color. And now, since it's been burned up so much, and since it's gone through all these processes, what we want to do now is want to deodorize it so it doesn't stink so bad. It doesn't smell from all the chemicals, of course. Now we want to take your vegetables oils one step further, and we want to hydrogenate them until they become a solid. Now we have this magnificent margarine or Crisco, whatever it might be. So it's a fancy word for fatty taste wonder. So a lot of foods are made with these things. And I'm going to show you a picture of what a chemical plant looks like that produces this canola oil, and what a chemical plant a cow looks like producing butter. Okay, right here is where I want to show you guys about these seed oils. This is really important. So I'm going to go ahead and play. This is from Dr. Chris Knobbe, Knobbe. He's talking about the diseases in our civilization, how seed oils play a part in that. So we're going to play this for a little bit and kind of look at this.
But vegetable oils, seed oils, also known as polyunsaturated vegetable oils, PUFA or polyunsaturated fatty acids, edible oils, now the newest euphemism, plant oils, I think, meant to just confuse us. Omega-6 oils, and then linoleic acid. Now, linoleic acid, if you don't know, is the 18-carbon omega-6 fat that is sort of exemplary. It's the primary fatty acid of these vegetable oils. All right, it accounts for about 80% of the fatty acids. All right. Now, here's the dreadful ones. All right. The high PUFA oil: soybean, corn, canola, cottonseed, rapeseed, grapeseed, sunflower, safflower, and rice bran. There, I've said it. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. These are the ones that are particularly dangerous. I'm sorry I don't have time. We have to move pretty quickly. All right, so this is from our paper recently, and this is vegetable oil consumption in the United States for essentially all of history. Notice, 1866 to about 1909, we're like 2 grams a day. And then it just takes off as we start getting soybean oil and all these other oils, right? And so by 2010, we're at 80 grams a day. Okay, so we went from 0 in 1865 for all the world and for essentially all of history, pretty much, to 80 grams a day. Now let me just say, this is an infinite increase in vegetable oil consumption. A lot of people talk about Tanya Blasberg's research where soybean oil went up 1,000-fold between 1909 to 1999, which indeed it did. But all this vegetable oil is an infinite increase. 80 grams a day, folks, is 720 calories worth. That's 32% of US caloric intake. A third of our diet is coming out of factories that make these oils. I can't tell you how dangerous this is. So 1900, 99% of our fats came from animal fat, lard, butter, beef tallow, and suet, essentially. But by 2005, 86% of added fats came from vegetable oils. And notice, the vegetable oils are still going up, right? Now, take a look at this. Here's where the dietary guidelines were introduced, right? 1980. And remember, our fat consumption was going down and our carb consumption is going up. So guess what? Our animal fat consumption is still trending down and our vegetable oil consumption is still going up. Didn't just happen in the US. Here's developed countries, doubled in a period between 1963 and 2003. This is all around the world. Developed countries doubled. Developing countries tripled. Japan, for example, 4.5-fold. China, almost an 8-fold increase. And this ended 17 years ago, this data. Where are we today? The Asians are getting as sick as we are, right? Okay, so here's the dietary fats, essentially, that are added to our diet, right? Coconut oil, butter, palm, and lard. So the top 4, see all the red? That's all the saturated fat. That's what's healthy. Now, from cottonseed oil down, all that blue, that's all these vegetable oils. And all that blue is the omega-6 linoleic acid, just that. That's what that is right there. If you transplant yourself back to 1865, and for all of history, and for all the world, essentially, this is where all the fats came from. Butter, lard, and beef tallow at 3, 2, and 2% omega-6 fat. So in other words, here's where we are today, all that blue, all that omega-6, here's where we were in 1865. So what did this do to us? 1865, I calculated this. This is what our omega-6 consumption would have been in 1865 with 40% animal fat from traditionally raised animals, 2.2 grams per day, less than 1% of our calories. And then you can see this is increasing. By 1909, we're about 2% of our calories. 1999, we're at 7% of calories and 18 grams a day. And 2008, 11.8% of our calories and 29 grams a day. We went from 2.2 grams to 29 grams a day. You're going to see why this is so important, because we can't burn these for fuel properly. They're meant to be stored and used as signaling and structural molecules, particularly in the mitochondria, and they're not meant to be burned as fuel. So that's why we accumulate these. This, I want to make notice here, that's 2.2 grams is not yet published data. That will be in our next scientific paper. But this is a 12-fold increase in omega-6 in about 145 years. 12.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know how devastating these seed oils can be to your system. There's a wealth of information on the internet about these omega-6, omega-3, the lard, the butter, the tallow, all of the things that we no longer actually cook with anymore, and how detrimental these seed oils can be. And one of the places shows a picture of how these seed oils are manufactured and how they go through. And I think I mentioned on the first part of this video how they go through the bleaching process, and it's oxidized and it's filtered, and it's all these things. But really what we come out with at the end is garbage, and we keep putting that in our body. And one of the biggest things is there is a lot of obesity in not only the United States, but now it's becoming worldwide. And there was some studies that attributed a lot of it to where McDonald's opened up, and there was some suits that were put in place about how McDonald's has saturated the black communities and how they had eventually became overweight. But You know, I'm not sure it's the fault of, it's not totally the fault of McDonald's. I believe that part of it is what they fry their hamburgers in, or what they, excuse me, what they fry their French fries in, and their onion rings, and all this is not a very good. It's a cheap oil. It's a cheap oil that oxidizes, and it causes havoc in our body. It stores that oil, some of the residue of that oil is actually stored in our adipose tissue, which is the fatty tissue. And sometimes it takes years for that stuff to finally purge from our system. Now, on the front that I talked to you about earlier on me, I have totally cut out any seed oils from my diet. And I have begun to ride my bike 3 or 4 times a week, so that's a big thing. I took a bike ride this morning, in fact, and my tummy has gone down. This has been since the 15th or so. My tummy has gone down almost a total inch, so that's a big deal. So I will keep you posted about what more is going on, and maybe we'll look at this at another time, but because it's so complicated and there's so many different parts of it that it's just kind of overwhelming. So we'll just kind of do it piecemeal. Okay, until next time, if you want to get a hold of me, you can look at my website, and you can call me. I mean, you can email me, and I'll be in contact with you. Okay, thank you very much.